Give me a second, making sure that it's starting. Just checking the integrity of the stream. Give me a second. Alright, checking the stream. Alright, well, I guess I'm going to start. It's kind of weird here, but it's not really syncing correctly. Anyways, so, welcome to my stream. This is 11/24/2013. This is Steven from Legit PC, and we're going to be talking about a couple of things right now. We're going to be talking about mainly games coming this winter. Anyways, it looks like it's a bit off sync. Let me check the audio. Okay, so the video's there. It's a little bit off, but we'll go ahead and get started. The audio is working. So, let's go ahead and start. So, yeah, we're going to be talking a little bit about some PC holiday games. So, upcoming here is the Christmas holiday. And for PC, let's just start by saying this is kind of one of the weakest holiday season for PC gaming, as far as PC gaming goes. We had a lot of games that were delayed to the beginning of next year, 2014. One of those would be something like Watch Dogs, right, was delayed, and other games such as that. And then we also had some big disappointments as far as releases. So far, I haven't been able to even get Assassin's Creed campaign to work. That's why you don't see it day one. I have the Assassin's Creed Black Flag singleplayer.exe has stopped working. I have that bug, so that doesn't work. So 1 out of the 4 games that came out, most people can't even play on PC. Now, also, Call of Duty was an extreme disappointment. It just does not run right. Does not run at all. A lot of different problems. A lot of people getting micro lag, and just it's limited at 90 frames per second. Out of nowhere, it'll drop to 70. It'll drop 20 frames randomly when you're trying to shoot at somebody. The mouse acceleration's messed up. A lot of things on the map are messed up. At least there's not really any glitches or hacks that I've seen so far in the game. So that's pretty good. Anyways, continuing on. So, I guess I would count holiday game season as pretty much from December till probably, depending on who you are, whether you're a student or, adult that's not in school, that's just working, then I would say your holiday probably ends a week after New Year's. That's when your holiday ends. But for people that are in school, usually it goes until they go back to school, February or end of January or end of February or whenever that might be. So for that, the lineup is pretty weak. So basically, you have indie games for the next 3 months from now. You basically have indie games until you get into the big hitters that are going to pick up on some of the other games that missed out. Games such as Titanfall and things like that will be coming up, but I'll get further into some other games. So big performers that I would get for the holiday season, the big performers will probably be Battlefield 4, and that's basically it. I mean, that one and Batman. Basically gonna have to keep with those until Assassin's Creed gets fixed and gets rid of most of those bugs on there. They're even having bugs for consoles. They're having problems on there too. But other than that, basically that's what you got. I mean, it's what you're gonna have to live with, I guess. So we have Batman Arkham Origins and Battlefield 4 are the ones I would recommend. Battlefield 4 is huge. It's doing great right now. Not too many problems. I had friends that that had problems with the beta, but this is working perfectly fine for them. So I would highly suggest checking that out. Battlefield 4, definitely a must buy. And I would pick it up on Green Man Gaming. You could check it out on my day one video. I have a link in there. It's probably on sale. Most likely on sale. So other than that, let's talk about some of the other games that are coming up that might be a huge problem. So I think for the next 4 or 5 months is probably going to be the worst gaming time in history. Reason why I say this: new generations of consoles are coming out, right? You have PS4 and Xbox One. Now, since they have increased hardware, some of the old developers' engines aren't going to cut it. So they get new engines. For example, something like The Division, right, from Ubisoft coming up. That's going to use their new engine called Snowflake. Now, if it's not perfect, they're probably designing it for the new systems. That's why they're coming out, the new consoles. That's why they're coming out with the new engine, right? Because the consoles now have increased bandwidth with their hardware, and they could take more of a beating. Now, it's a brand new engine that they're going to design just to do those systems. So chances are when they go to PC, they're going to have huge problems. Huge problems. And all different kinds of companies are coming out with new engines for these new consoles. Yes, the consoles are running, PC hardware, but it's designed to run off that specific PC hardware, not, variable, different operating systems, Windows 7, Windows Vista, Windows 8, Windows XP, even though XP is pretty much out, Windows 8.1, different mice, different keyboards, different LCDs, different resolutions. All those kind of things come into effect, and it's probably not going to be as much as a port as it used to be, but it's going to still have that problem of that it's a brand new engine rather than running on their old engine that they use for the old consoles and porting it to PC. They're going to have these new engines that will probably have problems porting to PC and will cause, people to not be able to run it, poor performance, frame drop, glitches, things like that. But I wouldn't really worry about that too much. I mean, if it's, running Unreal Engine 3, probably going to do the same thing. But you do have, Unreal Engine 4 is even coming out. That's something even to look at. Or maybe even like a new CryEngine, something like that. You have that gap that they're developing games just to go to those platforms. And then we're probably going to have some sort of playing problems, or maybe they'll get it right. I don't know. So also, speaking of Ubisoft has not been able to do it good lately. Two of their games that I had problems. Had to uninstall at least twice and reinstall twice. That being Splinter Cell and that being Assassin's Creed. Okay, so I had a question here by what is your thoughts on the next gen consoles? they're great. I mean, they run PC hardware. They're up there. They're bringing up their AMD onboard GPUs. They're bringing up their processors. They could play at 60 frames per second now on pretty much any game. Um, like I said, they're good enough that that companies need new engines to run games on there. Perfect, right? They need new engines to re-optimize games. Now, of course, I'm mainly a PC channel, so I basically have to tell you guys what I think how that affects PC, and that's what I was saying earlier. I mean, they're great systems. They're gonna be pretty perfect, but I've even seen videos where like the HDMI port on the PS4 doesn't work very well. Some of them are glitchy. It was like 10% of all systems are like that, which is a lot of systems where the HDMI port doesn't even work. Some of them, like the CD drives going out, it's just those general glitches. I mean, Xbox 360's been through like 7 iterations of boards inside of them, so they're still working on that kind of stuff. But then, they also have companies such as Ubisoft now getting into where um, you have to have Xbox Live and be, logged into the Uplay system, and you gotta be on too many places at once. The more systems they have, the more systems that can fail. Xbox One is already enough already. It doesn't fail too often. But, even PlayStation 4 network was hacked and that went down. So, you see, you should only have one system attached to that. You shouldn't have multiple systems. So that's what I think about next gen consoles. They're really top of the notch gaming machines. They're definitely going to. Of course, they're more interactive than PC. They have the Kinect and whatever PS4's is similar to that. They also have voice command now to voice control your TV. It's a great thing to have to in your living room. Yeah, absolutely. I never seen so many games delayed till next quarter of the next year. But yeah, some publishers do release a lot of games at once. All right, so back speaking about Ubisoft. So Ubisoft, they're going to have the big problem is that most of the new games coming up are from Ubisoft. So I was talking about the Uplay problems for PC. Whether you're going off the Uplay, because all the games I buy from Green Man Gaming only use Uplay. They do not use Steam. So, but even Steam players still have the same problems with Uplay because they still have to use Uplay. Now, the problem is that most of the newest hot games coming out are published by Ubisoft and they're on Uplay. For example, The Crew, which is the racing game where you have to do certain missions. You have The Division, which is also coming out. Watch Dogs, which is huge. All those games are all developed by Ubisoft, as well as some other Assassin's Creed games that were originally on mobile, and now they're going to be published on PC. So, other than that, most of them are going to be on Uplay. So, probably about 50% of the games coming up early, still in the holiday season, next year are going to be Uplay games, which chances are you're going to have a problem with. Unless you didn't have any problems with previous ones. Now, there is some good things coming out, Titanfall, things like that. They're going to be... We'll make it through it, but this first 6 months of next year is going to be a huge problem. Because they're just going to be coming out with new engines, testing out new things, and new things could cause problems initially. So chances are the games that you get for PC on a new engine are not going to work. Coming from Xbox One. Yeah, memory leaks. Yeah, it doesn't run on, I don't even know if it's got DDR3, does it? I don't think it's even got DDR3, nor the clock speed that we get on PC with their memory. We have 3000 megahertz clock, which is 3 gigahertz. They're probably running, But then again, they don't need that quick of RAM because they're not running anything on the background. They're not streaming through it or anything, so it's not really that big of a deal. I wouldn't be too worried about it on as far as consoles. But then again, that's why I play PC, because I like to work on problems, right? Anyways, so let's go ahead and talk about that's basically what the holiday season looks like for games. There's a big gap, big 3-month gap where there's nothing coming out, and then maybe so that would put you like the 24th of January. So chances are the first 3 months of next year are gonna be pretty much nothing. But if Uplay gets their stuff together, Ubisoft gets their stuff together, they've been getting a lot of asking for refunds with their Assassin's Creed, so maybe they'll get their stuff together, or maybe not. All right, so let's talk a little bit about 2013 in review for PC. So we had a lot of different types of hardware coming out that came out this year. We had the Intel Haswell, AMD releasing some processors. We had the new R9 200 series, 200X series for AMD, which is bringing out new APIs for direct connect to video card drawing type things, interfacing, right? Which we use now, DirectX. They're going to be using their own API that's going to come out, and they're going to use that to compete with, because that's going to be their proprietary software. They're going to compete against CUDA proprietary software, which isn't DirectX, but it's something different. Towards professional computing is their CUDA, because that's what Nvidia is mainly all around, is professional computing, where you do stuff that you make money off of, and that's just how it is. Xbox One. Do you think that Xbox One will have worse graphics compared to the PS4? I saw an overlay with Battlefield 4 on IGN. You should check it out on their channel, where they compared Xbox One versus PS4, and they also compared their previous gen counterparts. There is a huge difference. Like, you look at Xbox, it doesn't have any physics. It doesn't have any cloth physics, so the cloth is just not even there. They just don't even want to bother with it. If it's not going to have physics on it, they just don't even put it there. And then you have, birds circling around in Battlefield 4, and Xbox 360, there was none. So, I mean, it's PS4. I think is better. It's got the better graphics than Xbox, but it all depends on what you like as far as the controllers and the networks and the exclusives. You got to worry about the exclusives. The exclusives are the main one, platform exclusives. Those are the big deal, because no matter how much you like your PS4, you're not going to get Halo, obviously. So that's just how it is. And no matter how much you like Xbox, you're not going to get Killzone. So that's you can't do anything about it. Unless you had both. Now, if you had both, that's a little different. I would probably play the PS4, even though I started off with Xbox 360. I'm an Xbox person. That's where I started before I went to PC. A long time ago. But I would probably just play Xbox just because I am associated with it, not necessarily because of the graphic quality. But yeah, PS4, it's got the better graphics quality. You could check that out on IGN. It's got that overlay where it switches between, and you'll see a big difference. But it's still limited by the engine, right? Obviously, still limited by the engine. And even though the graphics are better, the quality is better, you're still not going to get over 60 frames. That's just how it is. It's capped at 60 frames. And that's it. Okay, so back to PC hardware. And then we had the new 700 series come out from Nvidia. And killer stuff in there. They had the new Shadow Play, which is a big deal, especially when they upgrade that to stream. A lot of people are going to be coming to PC to stream like that, just one click hit. For me, it would be Alt, probably Alt number pad 3 or something. Automatically streaming from there. full 60 FPS quality, 1080p at, you know, at my max. I have 12 megabit upload, so I'll probably do, 6. YouTube's greatest, right? YouTube's highest quality, which is what I'm streaming at right now from Logitech C910. So altogether, I mean, not that I'm bagging on consoles. This year and next year are going to be the biggest time in gaming. A lot of companies are going to come into the market as more people are pulled in, because people are buying Xboxes to be their home entertainment system, to have Netflix, this and that, rather than buying a smart TV. They get the faster Xbox or PlayStation 4, but chances are if they're going to do something for their home theater, it's going to be an Xbox, and they could be tempted to get some games that you would usually buy, a Wii to play. Some games that are really, really integrated into Kinect. You got voice control to control your TV, all different kinds of things. It's going to be the biggest time in gaming coming up, but not necessarily in PC. PC is, their hardware is top notch. It is up there. The 700 series, especially the Super Titan coming up, is going to tear up anything. And then, we have triple SLI, we have new boards, we have new processors working out. And now that they're having, the biggest combat between Steam, Origins, and Uplay, so now each of the company only has theirs on their platform, and they're trying to really differentiate their platforms, such as I'm pretty sure you remember Battlefield 3 being an online browser connecting in the game. That was pretty weird. Other than that, I mean, some great hardware coming out. Let's go ahead and look into the next 6 months of gaming, since we have some time here. So here, of course, we have Titanfall. You got the Assassin's Creed Liberation, which is a port from mobile. XCOM, the DLC. IGN's probably putting a lot of those other games there at the bottom. Sherlock Holmes. Yeah, so not a lot of games coming out in the next 6 months. Pretty limited for PC. And then we have games that probably are still running off of the hype of the next gen consoles and are going to be released for PC shortly after. But, they say that, but we still haven't even gotten Grand Theft Auto. I mean, it still hasn't even come our way, and we had petitions, change.org, that hit hundreds of thousands of signs, and still didn't even make it. So, but it is going to be the best time ever in the marketplace for games. There's Kickstarter, where a lot of indie gamers could get their start and get funding to make their games and to try something different and to get something different. And a lot of different companies that are already established are trying something different to change it up for multiplayer, such as Splinter Cell Blacklist was an absolute success as far as their multiplayer experience. The mercs versus spies, that was really cool. Assassin's Creed multiplayer Black Flag, which is the only part I've been able to play, has been really cool. Really cool multiplayer. You don't know who's the enemy type thing. It's really, really cool. Batman's multiplayer is really cool. A lot of the companies have the really cool aspect behind them of their multiplayer. And but still, our big dogs almost had some problems. Battlefield 4 got it back together again, and but Call of Duty didn't. But Battlefield was beta tested, and Call of Duty wasn't, I believe. So that gives you the insight to it. So if you beta test your games, chances of it working are going to go a lot higher. Even if you're buying the game, whether you're a developer or a gamer, it's the same thing. Chances are when you release it, you're going to have less problems if you beta test it. If you beta test it as a developer, or if your users beta test it for you, the gamers, right? Which Battlefield 4 was, and it was a great beta. I liked it. Only needed one map, that's fine, that's cool. Back together, it didn't have the problem on the final release, and that's just that's what you need to do. And Call of Duty, I don't think did for their system. They didn't. They didn't release a beta for PC. I know for sure they didn't. For consoles, they might have, but that makes no difference for us. For PC, we don't care. We want the beta for PC, so you could get rid of most of the bugs before they come to final release, and you pay money for a game that doesn't work correctly or doesn't work at all, and then you need to scramble to fix it. It's just better off beta testing, I think. But also, a lot of other games are going just exclusives. I'm seeing an ad right here on IGN for Ryze, Son of Rome. Huge CryEngine game, but it's an Xbox One exclusive only. Would have been great for PC. I don't know necessarily about the controls. I don't know. I'm guessing it's like I saw a little bit of it. Looked like a third person. And then you have Dead Rising 3 only for Xbox. So you're gonna see a lot of that right now of Xbox exclusives, Xbox One exclusives, or PlayStation 4 exclusives as they come out for this next 6 months. So we might be out of a lot of games, and hopefully the competition dies out, as most of the platforms now are extremely similar. So hopefully that competition dies out, and we get some of the games that would normally be exclusives at least ported, and by that time we'll have better engines for PC. Engines that were originally developed to work for Xbox One or PlayStation 4 will now start working better for PC. We'll get better ports, better games. It's all going to be up from there, but this next 6 months is going to be harsh. Very harsh for us PC gamers. But the price of components are still, they're still equal for components. They're scaling pretty well. $1,500, you could get a computer that's $1,000 and that will play anything. The computer that I bought, that I put together for all the stuff that I'm doing now, 660 Ti, 3570K, that combination right there, 8 gigs of RAM, it'll play anything at 1080p. Once you get to 1440 or 1600, then you have problems. Or 4K, and I was going to talk about that as well, 4K. But everything is on the rise, scaling very nicely. Even if you're going to do higher resolution, 1440, 1600p, stuff like that, then you just get a higher graphics card, right? Or if you have multiple displays, get a higher graphics card, but you're going to be able to play a lot better than, the 600 series and the 700 series. Barely any price difference between those gaps there. Between like a 660 and 760, a lot of performance difference, and even in some cases you have extended warranty, and you could return your card and get the same new card for the same price, right? Now, of course, your card is worth less, so if you look on Newegg or Amazon or wherever, your price, the price is going to be lower, but that doesn't mean that's what your card was worth at the store. You still get all your money back. And chances are, back when I bought my 660 Ti for 300, here's the 280X for 300. I know 760 is 250. You can find one for 250 up to 300. So I could get, I could return mine and get a 760 or 280X. And especially now that each manufacturer for video cards, Nvidia and AMD, are now having their own proprietary software. The competition is going to get very heated, especially now that they got all their stuff fixed with AMD, all of the frame lag, the latency for their milliseconds on frame. Milliseconds would be way too high. We'd get high frames per second, but really high latency. And then now we're getting G-Sync from Nvidia for our monitors to increase our to match the refresh speed with how many frames per second we're getting, which dramatically turns down the tearing. So we have a lot of technology, and of course all that stuff doesn't work with consoles. That's PC only stuff. We have Shadow Play, all from one button. Hit one button, streaming automatically. Hit one button, capturing automatically. All embedded into our Nvidia cards. You don't need to buy you don't need to buy a separate capture card like I have. I have the Avery Media Live Gamer HD. All you need is your 600 or 700 series desktop GPU, and you can capture your gameplay just like that at 60 frames per second. My $225 capture card can't even do 60 frames per second. As of right now, it could do a higher bit rate, almost 80 megabits per second, but still at 30 frames per second. Now with Shadow Play, I've gotten up to, for about a 30-minute video, I've got to 50 megabits per second at 60 frames per second, which looks absolutely beautiful. So PC gaming is on the rise, not necessarily just on the hardware perspective, but now they're adding software in with that hardware that they haven't thought of before. The G-Sync technology, Shadow Play technology, ATI's, AMD's new API for connection between your display drivers and your computer, rather than DirectX having that. And new CUDA technology, new software utilities to keep your graphics card up to date, game-ready drivers from Nvidia that come out 2 days before the game comes out, ready to optimize that game. We're getting updates for Nvidia like every time a game comes out. Every month we're getting a new driver to keep us up to date all the time. As well as they're throwing in deals with graphics cards to get games, 2 to 3 games sometimes with AMD. And AMD is now competitive with Nvidia as far as their GPUs. So the prices are going to go down for us. All it could be is good for us. They're blending together. They're becoming more transparent, I guess you could say, as far as between which side. Because previously, for anything above $800, I was always Nvidia. Because I didn't really see any reason to go to AMD 7000 series when they would just have those weird millisecond, way too long on frame. Get the same frames per second, but the milliseconds that it sits on the frame is jumping around, and is always over like 20 milliseconds, which is ridiculous. Way too long on frame. Now that they fixed that with the R9 200 series, and they're going up against the 700 series, it's looking pretty good, especially when the Radeons now have larger VRAM. So, the 760 is 2 gigs, and here the R9 280X is 3 gigs. So as well as its bus is a lot higher, 384 bit, and I know their 290X is like 512 bit. But The big point that they're missing on is I think that Intel is still massively beating on AMD as far as their processors are concerned. Who wants to buy a board that now we have Super Titans out? If you want to get a Super Titan, you're not going to run it on a PCI Express 2.0 slot. That's the biggest card ever built. And it has every single CUDA core works on it. Every CUDA core that's on it works. It is not turned off. You're definitely going to need that 3.0 bus on there because the bitrate is going to be so high. Of course, it's pretty overkill. It'd do probably 3 screens, It'd probably do 3 screens at 1600p and not have a problem with it. And be able to play all your games with 3 screens. Surround or Nvidia Surround. It'd probably do that. But it's not going to do that on a 2.0 bus, which is all of AMD's chipsets only have 2.0. So now, if I were to suggest anything for an upcoming build, let's say the seasons are coming up pretty quickly, and you want to get your new build to play something like Battlefield 4 or Call of Duty. I would probably even go with, depending on whether you want to capture or not. If you want to capture, automatically go with Nvidia, 760, and then you'll play Battlefield 4 all maxed out with no problem. And 760 you get $250. Now, if you were just for Call of Duty and you wanted to capture, I would just get 660 Ti, the one that I have. You could probably find it for like $200, and you're done. You're ready to go. And now the processors are fast enough that you could just get a i5 37. Is it 3950, something like that? Whichever one is the i5 for Haswell. I think it's a 3950. Let me check really quick. But that's all you need for gaming. You don't need a quad core with hyper-threading from the i7. But I would definitely not get an AMD just for. I mean, if you're only gonna run one graphics card and it was like a 660 Ti, you don't need 3.0. You just don't need it. But if you wanted to do a bigger machine, you'd never run AMD. But now is a good time to run the AMD processor with a small graphics card because they're really good on value, but they do release a lot of heat. I guess it's a 4670K. Oh no, it's a 4570K. Yeah, you get the 4570K or the 4670K, which is $240, and that's pretty much all you need to play any game. Slap 8 gigs of RAM on there, and you're ready to go. All right, I haven't checked for comments. Let me see what we got. Oh wait, what do you mean consoles get bad frame rates when you do capturing and streaming? They have onboard capture and streaming? Oh, Ryze didn't end up being too good? I saw a little bit of it. I was impressed by the graphics. I don't know about the gameplay. But for consoles, you'll probably need some sort of external capture card unless they already have built-in capture for it. But if there was, yeah, your frame rate's going to drop because it only has a certain amount of processor available, and they don't build the games with that in mind of, hey, I'm going to spare some processor room so they can stream. They just don't do that. They're going to run the systems to the max. So you're not going to have any playing room. So chances are you're going to need an external capture card like the Avery Media Live Gamer HD to either capture or stream to that. Now, that's not the case anymore for Nvidia. You use Shadow Play and capture whatever you want. 60 frames per second, good to go. But yeah, definitely a good time for gaming. Big time for us. Hopefully Ubisoft gets their stuff together with Uplay and their new engines that we could play stuff like The Division, which is an absolutely beautiful game. Assassin's Creed, get Assassin's Creed to work. Rainbow Six Patriots. I don't know if that's even coming out for PC. But yeah, so Watch Dogs, Rainbow Six, The Division, The Crew. All these games that we want to have work for PC. Yeah. But yeah, so if you're looking to build a game to play the major first person shooters, Battlefield 4 or Call of Duty Ghosts, I would get something like a 280X, 280 R9 280X, a they have a 270. I would get either probably 270X or a 660 Ti. If you wanted to play Battlefield maxed out, I would get like a 670, something like that. $250, you're ready to go. So if you're just gonna play Call of Duty, I would get an R9 270X or the 660 Ti. And for Battlefield and Call of Duty, or just Battlefield by itself, I would get a 760 or a 280X, and those will completely be able to play any of those games or any other games that come out at 1080p. If you're going higher resolution, go 770, 770 Ti, 780, or the 290X. And that's what I suggest you do. And go for an i5 3570K or one of AMD's 8-core FX series. And I would just roll with that. And 8 gigs of RAM, and you should be good to go. But now, make sure that you keep your hard drive space up, because these new games coming out are huge. Call of Duty itself was like 60 gigs or something crazy like that for PC. And Battlefield was like 30 gigs. So make sure you have plenty of space on your hard drive to accommodate those games. And even some glitches with... I heard that one of the fixes for Assassin's Creed was to install the game on your C drive and run it like that, but I'm not so sure about that. Sorry about that. Had that stream open. Might have lagged it a little bit, my current stream, but that's alright. But yeah, so keep it together for these next 6 months, and we should have some nice PC games coming out. Gonna be No Man's Land. Sorry, there's gonna be No Man's Land for the next 6 months. Not too many PC games coming out. They're all doing, Xbox exclusive games or PlayStation 4 exclusive games. But then within the next 2 months, probably after those 6 months, we're gonna have games from Ubisoft and stuff like that coming out for PC. But these you gotta be careful with. They're gonna probably be running new initialized parts of their engine or brand new engine that might have problems with PC. So this next 8 months, 9 months are gonna be probably pretty lame for PC. But after 10th month, 12th month, then it's gonna start picking up. We got brand new engines. We got brand new stuff to go off of. We got all the systems are even closer together. It's gonna be a great time for PC. And I'm really excited for it, and I'll be there giving you guys the exclusives for it. If I get the games to work, right? Obviously. But I'll have more reviews on my channel, and more day ones, more reviews, more PC builds. Should have also some more live streams. Should do a lot more live streams. I do live streams of all the big games that are coming out that people are looking a lot forward to. Battlefield 4, I did one. Call of Duty Ghosts, I did one. You guys should check those out. But I'll be giving you guys exclusives and at the highest quality that I could give and be real with you guys. Tell you what I think is good, what I think is bad, what I think you should buy, what I think you shouldn't, how you should set up your PC, the utilities you should use, that kind of thing. And I'll make sure I get those out there so you guys know about them, and how to keep your PC running its best and to be gaming your best. So other than that, yeah, you get 770. Alright, so now I'm going to basically recap. So like I said, the first 10 months coming up, 10 months from now are not going to be that great for PC. Going to be very little stuff, probably only indie stuff, not really any big stuff. And then you get into something like March, right? Then it's going to start to pick up March, May. Once Titanfall comes out, and The Division, The Crew, and Watch Dogs, we're going to have some very, very good games. And hopefully they get Call of Duty Ghosts back together again so you can play that, or Battlefield. And then you have Batman, Assassin's Creed when they get that working well. We're going to have a lot of games to play. And but there's still that gap that I'm probably going to run out of games to play. And you'll see a lot of indie games coming out on my channel. I'll be talking about indie games and a lot of free-to-play games that you could get right now and play until those games come out. You know, make sure you guys are definitely that you guys are getting some games in, keeping yourself occupied, keep you guys from getting bored. Other than that, this year in review, a lot of great hardware coming out. Nvidia 700 series, you have the Intel Haswell, you have the R9 200X series, and you have the some AMD processors, and there's just a lot of stuff coming out, a lot of cool things coming out, and as well as a lot of games. PCs are at their best, but the market isn't really still towards PC. It will be getting closer. It's still not going to be all PC, but it's going to be console, but console and PC are going to be even closer together. So that's basically what I have to say. Holiday games, there basically is none, besides those 4 that are out right now, 2 of which don't work very well, and 1 including your big gaming type thing. Your big gaming first-person shooter, Ghost, is not working too great for a lot of people, including myself. So that's just how it is. They'll get their stuff together, and then everything will be good for PC with those 4 games for the next 6 months. So dig out through your Steam library and find a game to play until those games come out, because it's going to be a while. But I promise you, after these next 10 months or 8 months and after, it's going to be the best thing for PC. And hopefully this coming up next year's holiday season is twice as good as this season, because this season really sucks. It's no good. But the hardware is great. Great time to buy a great gaming PC. Great time to be recording videos for Nvidia, recording and streaming videos coming up here. It's going to be absolutely perfect. A lot of gameplay montages are going to come out with even higher quality. And a lot of my reviews are going to be coming out with the greater quality in day ones and all my videos and stuff like that. So anyways, that's basically all I got to talk about. We're going to go ahead and close down the stream here in a couple minutes. So this has been Steven from Legit PC. I'd like to thank you for watching my live stream. If you're looking for any of these holiday games for a good deal, check out Green Man Gaming, www.greenmangaming.com, or you could look at any of the games that you're looking to get. For example, Assassin's Creed, Battlefield 4, Call of Duty Ghosts, or Batman Arkham Origins. Check out my day 1 videos, and I'll have the Green Man Gaming link in the description. That'll take you automatically to that page, and it helps me out as well. And that's probably where you're going to find the best deals on it. and be able to get shooter. Ghost is not working too great for a lot of people.